Last month, my brother posted a Father's Day tribute on Facebook, photos of the twins at the beach, photos of them at a birthday dinner, a long caption about unconditional love and sacrifice and what it means to be a father. The post went viral, 50,000 shares in 3 days, comments calling him an inspiration, a devoted dad. A real one. I read every word of that caption sitting at my kitchen table at 11 at night after the twins were already asleep. I had just finished packing their lunches for the next day. I had just signed a permission slip for a field trip. I had just reminded Nora to put her library book in her bag and reminded Leo to charge his tablet and reminded them both that tomorrow was picture day, so please actually use the brush in the morning. I did these things the same way I have done them every single day for 12 years. My brother posted a tribute to fatherhood. I packed lunches and signed forms. At the school talent show the following afternoon, both twins walked onto the stage together. One held a microphone. The other held a piece of paper. What they said made my brother delete the post within the hour. This is the story of the 12 years that led to that afternoon. My name is Claire Hartley. I am 36 years old. I have 2 kids. Their names are Leo and Nora, and they are 12 years old, and they are mine in every way that has ever mattered, and in most of the ways the law eventually recognized too. I did not give birth to them. My brother did not raise them. What actually happened sits somewhere in the space between those two facts, and it has taken me a long time to be able to describe it without my hands shaking. My brother Ryan is 4 years older than me. He has always been the one my parents organized their lives around. His college visits came first. His career decisions were discussed at length. His relationships were treated as major family events. I was the capable one. The one who did not need as much. The one who would be fine. When Ryan was 32, he had a brief relationship with a woman named Diane. The relationship ended before the pregnancy was discovered. Diane was not in a position to raise children. Ryan looked at the situation and determined that he was also not in a position to raise children. He had a demanding job. He traveled frequently. He had a life that did not have room for 2 infants. My parents absorbed this information and made a decision without asking me first. They called me on a Thursday evening and told me Ryan needed help. They told me I was 24 and single and had time. They told me it was a family situation and family handled family situations. 2 days later, they arrived at my apartment with 2 infant car seats and a bag of formula and a look on their faces that said this was already decided. Leo and Nora were 11 days old. I want to be precise about what the next several months looked like because I think people hear a story like this and imagine it was chaotic and visible and something that someone from the outside would have noticed and intervened in. It was not like that. It looked from the outside like a young woman who had decided to step up for her family. It looked voluntary. It looked like a choice I had made because I loved my brother and my parents and my family, and that is what people in loving families do. What it felt like from the inside was something closer to a door closing behind me before I had decided to walk through it. I had a job doing administrative work at a small architecture firm. I had a studio apartment with 1 bedroom. I had $2,000 in savings. I had no experience with infants and no idea what I was doing and no one to ask at 2 in the morning when both babies were crying and I could not figure out which one needed what. I figured it out. That is what I did for the next 12 years. I figured it out every single day. I moved to a 2-bedroom apartment and paid the difference myself. I rearranged my work schedule and eventually changed jobs entirely to something with more flexibility and less pay. I learned everything I needed to learn from library books and parenting forums and trial and error. And the particular kind of competence that develops when failure is not actually an option because 2 small people are depending on you to get it right. Ryan visited 4 times in the first year. He brought gifts each time. Nice ones. The expensive kind that signal generosity without requiring presents. He took photos with the twins and posted them occasionally. Proud uncle content. Then the visits became less frequent. Then they became phone calls. Then the phone calls became texts. On birthdays, my parents helped when they could, which was not very often because they had their own lives and had assumed I was managing and I was managing, so there was nothing to interrupt. I did not ask for help directly. I did not know how to ask for help in the way my family understood asking because I had been the capable one my entire life and capable people handle things. So I handled things. I potty trained 2 children simultaneously. I attended every pediatric appointment and every parent-teacher conference and every school play and every soccer game. I learned how to braid hair because Nora cared about her hair. I learned how to explain long division. Twice in 2 different ways because Leo needed it explained differently than Nora. I sat with both of them through fevers and nightmares and the particular cruelty of middle school social dynamics. I was there for all of it. Ryan was there for the Facebook posts. The legal situation evolved slowly. When the twins were 3, I filed for formal guardianship because I needed to be able to make medical decisions without tracking down signatures from people who were not present. Ryan signed the paperwork without objection. He signed it on a Tuesday and sent me a text that said thanks for holding things down. When the twins were 7, I filed for adoption. By that point, Ryan had been essentially absent for 4 years. Diane had signed a voluntary relinquishment shortly after the birth. The adoption was granted without significant complications. Leo and Nora became my children legally on a Wednesday afternoon in a courtroom that smelled like old carpet and industrial cleaner. I took them out for pizza afterward, and Nora asked if this meant I was their real mom now, and I said yes, and she said good because I have been calling you mom in my head for a long time. Leo said me too. I cried in the car on the way home while they argued about which pizza topping was objectively superior. That was one of the best days of my life. My parents attended the hearing. Ryan did not. He sent a card. It said congratulations on making it official. The Father's Day post appeared on a Sunday morning. I was in the kitchen making breakfast when Nora came downstairs holding her phone and showed me the screen without saying anything. Her expression was the particular careful blankness of a 12-year-old who is waiting to see how an adult responds to something before deciding how to feel about it herself. The post was long. Ryan had written about fatherhood and legacy and the privilege of watching children grow. He had used the word sacrifice. He had included a line about choosing tool of someone is a decision you make every single day. There were 11 photos, the twins at various ages. The most recent one was from a visit 6 months earlier when Ryan had come through town and taken them to a baseball game. They were smiling in the photo. They smile for photos. They are 12 years old and they understand that sometimes you smile for photos. I read the caption twice. Then I put my phone face down on the counter and finished making breakfast. I did not say anything negative about the post to either of them. I made eggs and toast and we talked about the talent show that was coming up later that week. They had been working on their performance for 3 weeks and had not told me exactly what they were planning. They said it was a surprise. The talent show was on a Thursday afternoon in the school gymnasium. It was the kind of event where parents sat in folding chairs and watched 20 performances of varying quality and clapped for all of them with equal enthusiasm because that is what you do. I was in the 4th row. Ryan was not there. My parents were not there. When Leo and Nora were announced, they walked out together from opposite sides of the stage and met in the center. Nora was holding a microphone. Leo was holding a piece of paper. I did not know what the piece of paper was until Leo held it up and I could see the official seal and the formatted text and the names at the top. It was there. Adoption certificate. Nora spoke first. She said she wanted to talk about a word that people use a lot without always meaning it, and that word was family. She said family was not just the people you were related to. It was the people who showed up. Leo said he wanted to talk about a different word, and that word was there. He said there was a difference between being there in a photo and being there at 2 in the morning. He said there was a difference between being there for a baseball game and being there for the dentist and the math tutor and the bad week and the ordinary Tuesday. Nora said the person who had been there for every ordinary Tuesday for their entire lives was standing in the 4th row and her name was Claire and she was their mom. Leo held up the adoption certificate and said this made it official, but they had known it for a lot longer than the paper had. Then they both said, "Thank you, Mom," into the microphone, and the gymnasium did what gymnasiums do in those moments. The parent in the 3rd row handed me a travel pack of tissues. I used most of them. I found out about the deleted post from a friend who had screenshotted it before it came down. Ryan sent me a text that evening. It said that was not fair. I held my phone for a long time looking at those 4 words. I thought about 12 years of ordinary Tuesdays. I thought about the adoption certificate and the smell of old carpet. And Nora asking if I was her real mom now and Leo saying me too. I thought about what fair actually means and who gets to use that word and under what circumstances. I did not reply that night. The next morning I sent him one message. It said the twins are doing really well. I thought you should know that since you posted about them. He has not responded. My parents called me that weekend. The conversation was uncomfortable in the particular way that conversations are uncomfortable when everyone in them knows the truth, but some of the people in them are not ready to say it out loud yet. I let them be uncomfortable. I have earned that. Leo and Nora went back to school on Monday. Nora had a history project due. Leo had a book report. I signed 2 more permission slips. Life continued the way it always continues, ordinary and steady and entirely ours. That is my story. Drop a comment below. Subscribe if you are new here, and I will see you in the next one. I want to say something about the 12 years before that gymnasium because I think it matters. I was not a martyr. I did not spend those years feeling sorry for myself or waiting for recognition or keeping a ledger of everything I had given up. I gave up real things. My mid-20s looked nothing like my friends' mid-20s. My savings went to diapers and eventually school supplies and eventually braces for Nora and a decent laptop for Leo when his school went fully digital. My career took a different shape than it would have otherwise. My relationships were complicated in the way relationships are complicated when you are a single parent at 24 and then 26 and then 30. I made choices I did not fully choose and I made them every day and then I made them again the next day. But I also got to be the person who was there for Leo and Nora's entire lives. I got to be the person Nora asked when she needed to talk about something she could not figure out how to say out loud. I got to be the person Leo called from a school field trip once because he was homesick and I drove 45 minutes each way to pick him up early and brought him home and made soup and we watched a movie and he fell asleep on the couch and I thought this is what it is. This is exactly what it is. I did not build the life I thought I was going to build at 24. I built a better one. It just took me a while to understand that. The talent show helped. Someone asked me recently if I was angry at Ryan. The honest answer is that I used to be and now I am mostly just indifferent, which is its own kind of answer. Anger requires a level of ongoing investment that I redirected a long time ago. What I have instead is clarity. I understand exactly what happened and who made which choices. And what those choices cost and who paid the cost. Ryan will live with the particular knowledge that his children stood on a stage in front of their entire school and described what was missing and it was him. I did not plan that. I did not ask them to do it. They are 12 years old and they processed 12 years of information and they came to their own conclusions and they expressed those conclusions in the way 12-year-olds express things, which is directly and without softening the edges. I am not sorry about what they said. I am proud of them for having the clarity to say it and the courage to say it in a room full of people and the grace to center it on gratitude rather than grievance. They talked about who showed up. They said, "Thank you." That is exactly who I raised them to be.